Okay, let us go to view 3. Okay, view 3 is related to parcel information. Okay, now in this view, what we want to do is that we want the user to be able to enter the weight, okay, the weight of the parcel, okay, and based on the entry, then our application will actually suggest, okay, what is actually the cost for sending that particular parcel to a particular zone. Okay, in addition to that, we want to actually create an option whereby the user can select, okay, they can select the weight from a list of categories, and they can also select the zones from the category of zones, and then our application will display the cost. So in addition to that, we want to take into consideration the several other factors in calculating the cost, including the SST. Okay, currently the SST is 6%, so we need to actually add that to our application. And in addition to that, we also need to round, okay, to round to the nearest 5 cent. Okay, for example, if we have the cost, say 15 ringgit 48 cents, then 48 cents must become 50 cents. Okay, so basically that is what we are going to do. So similarly to what we have done in view 1 and view 2, we are going to use the web user controls. Okay, the only difference is that currently for this particular view 3, we only need one web user controls, and it is not shared by other views. Okay, but however, we still choose to use web user controls because in terms of our codes will be more neat. Okay, it will be neater, so it's easier to maintain in comparison to if we put everything in this particular web form. Okay, now what we are going to do is that we are going to add another web forms user control. So we highlight the user controls folder in our solution explorer, right click, add. Okay, we add web forms user control. Okay, of course we are going to choose a descriptive name for this. So let's say, because this is about calculation, about rates, let's say that the name will be, okay, parcel rates. Okay, so parcel rates. Okay, I click OK. So now this is our web form user controls. Okay, similarly to the sender receiver control, the first thing that we should do is that we are going to create a layout before we add the necessary controls to this particular user controls. Okay, so similarly, I'm going to use a table. Okay, this is a table. We have rows, and within rows we have column. Let's say that similarly we also want to have two columns. Okay, so now this is table row and columns. Okay, let us put something inside the cell first, so that we can see anything. Okay, now because we cannot see anything because there's nothing in the cell, so let us put something. So what are we going to put? Okay, let's say that the first thing that we want to the user to enter is the weight of the parcel. Of course, this will be entered manually. Okay, so let me put in, this is a normal text, this is the weight. Okay, now let us have some text box here. Okay, let's say that we want the user to enter the weight, or perhaps the PosLaju stuff. Okay, will enter the weight. Okay, so we are going to use text box. So we scroll. This is text box. Okay, we add this text box here. Okay, let's say that the ID, we change the ID of the text box to txt weight. Okay, run at server. Okay, now this is okay. Now wait, I do not think that we need this to be so wide. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to reduce the weight. Okay, width. Okay, equals to say 60. Okay, 60 pixels. Okay. Okay. Now, okay. Let's say that we want to actually add a button. So when we have text box, normally we will have a button. So for this button, so what I'm going to do is that I'm just going to actually add just next to this text box. Okay, so because basically at the bottom we will have other controls, so we do not want to have people to scroll our web form. Okay, now what we will do is that within the same cell I'm going to add this button. So now let's say I'm going to enter this first, so to make sure that there is room. Okay, so I'm going to drag and drop a button here. So where is the button? Okay, now this is the button. Okay, this is the button. Okay, so now this button, the ID is button 1. I'm going to change the ID to btn calculate, and the text on the button will be calculate. Okay, similarly I would like a small button. Okay, a small button. So I'm going to add some width here, so let me unpin this first. So this also width equals to, let's say, 70 pixels. Okay, now after we have done this, let us arrange this back. Control KD. Okay, so I'm going to eliminate this line spacing. Okay, now based on this particular design, okay, so what I'm going to do is that okay, I'm going to resize this. Let's say that because we will be having some other text on this column, let's say 200 pixel. Okay, so here, okay, this is it will generate an auto style. So width is 199. Let's say I'll change this to 200 pixel. Okay, now this is the width. Okay, next what we are going to do is that we are going to actually add some list box. Okay, previously we have used a drop down list, so but let us try a new control. I'm going to introduce you to list box. So the first thing is that what I'm going to do now is that I'm going to copy the whole of this row. Okay, now I'm going to paste this. Okay, so now we do not need these two of these controls here. Okay, what I want is just the row and the cell. Okay, so here I'm going to actually replace this with, so I'm going to type width and zone. So meaning that we have two controls in the same cells for the width and the zone. Okay, now let us have a look a little bit what it will look like. Okay, now this is width and zone. Okay, here what I'm going to do is that I'm going to type width, and let's say that we have a break here. Okay, here, okay, previously we have done using drop down list. Okay, now I'm going to introduce another control. So this control is, let's say that we are going to use list box. Okay, now list box is very similar to drop down list. The only difference that it cannot collapse. Okay, it is like permanent displayed all the items, okay, within the page. Okay, by default the ID name is listbox 1. Okay, so if I go to the design, so it will look something like this. Okay, this is listbox 1. Okay, I'm going to change the ID of listbox 1. So this will be LST. Wait, so listbox, this listbox will list the categories of weight. Okay, similar to what we have seen here. So you see this parcel weight, we have all these categories. So these are the things that we are going to display in our list box. Okay, now now this is list box. Within this list box, okay, we need to actually enter the list items. Okay, so basically these are something that we need to actually type manually. So there's nothing much that we can do. Okay, this is this particular. Okay, now the first one, let's say that the first one is that we have 0.5 less than 0.5. Okay, we have 0.5, 0.75, 1.25. So meaning that everything is within the increment of 0.25. Okay, until 2, and after 2 we have 0.5, 0.5. So the maximum is 3 kilograms. So now let us try to do it quickly. Okay, now the first one is that we have less than, okay, 0.5. Okay, so and okay, because this is item, so we want the kilogram, kg, to be displayed. Okay, now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to copy. Oops. Okay, I'm going to copy all this, several of this. So I hope this is enough. Okay, now we have 0.5, then we have 0.75, then we have 1.00. Okay, let's say that this is 0.50. We retain at 2 decimal place in terms of the display. Okay, now this is 1.25. This is 1.50. This is 1.75. We have 2.00. Okay, after 2 we have 2.50, and then we have 3.00. Okay, so these are several extra list items. So I'm going to delete this. Okay, so let me check again whether to see whether this is correct. Okay, we have 0.5, 0.75, 1, 1.25, 1.5, 1.75, 2, 2.5, 3. Okay, so this is 0.5, 0.75, 1, 1.25, 1.5, 1.75, 2, 2.5, and this is 3. Okay, now we have done this. Okay, let us have a look at the design. Okay, now the design is actually a little bit small, so we need to drag the height so that we can have a good. Okay, this is extra. Okay, let's say that we have this height. Okay, 158. That should be okay. Okay, just nice. Okay, now in terms of the width, should we readjust? Okay, let us try to adjust. Okay, now this is 82. Okay, let's say that we adjust this to 100 pixel. Okay. Okay, now next is that what else should we do? okay, let's say that we want to select a default the default item. So meaning that even if anyone did not select anything, so it will take some default value. So what we should do is that, let's say that I'm going to choose the first one, okay, meaning that this is the minimum 0.5 kilograms, so meaning that the charge is the minimum charge. So let us say that this will be the default value. So I'm going to add selected equals to true. So this will become the default value. Okay, you can see that automatically the first one is highlighted. Okay, now here, so for the list box, okay, we see that I'm not going to use a button. So what we are going to do is that we want the user, once every time he or she selects, okay, from the list box, it will automatically recalculate. So we would like to actually minimize the action of the user having to click buttons. Okay, so once click, and automatically that will trigger the change, and basically it will actually be more user friendly to the user. So here, from here we choose enable auto postback. So we check this box. Okay. Okay, now this is okay. Now we are not going to write the code yet, so let us leave that here for a while. Okay, now this is the second column. Let's say that we need another column, I think. Okay, for example, let's say this is weight. We need to have zone. So zone is on the right. So we have just two columns, but no problem. So what we will actually do here is that we are going to add another column here, TD. Now we have another column. Okay, and for this column, I think the things that we want to keep, this is zone. Okay, this is the zone. Okay, I'm going to put a break here. Okay, then now similarly, I'm going to drag and drop another list box. Now this list box is for the purpose of to select the zones. So we have the list box. Now the ID, I'm going to change the ID. So this will be LST. Now I'm going to use list box LST, LST zone. Okay. Okay, so basically this is the zone. Okay, now similarly we need to add the list items. So here ASP list item. Okay, now the first is, let us have a look here. Okay, there are three zones. We have West Malaysia, Sarawak, and Sabah. Okay, West Malaysia, this is quite long. I'm going to use W dot Malaysia or W Malaysia. This is for West Malaysia. Still long, Sarawak and Sabah, so that it will be look balanced. Okay, now let us try what do we type here. West is W, Malaysia M. Okay, MSIA. Okay, this is Malaysia. Okay. Okay, now I'm going to copy this one. I'm going, oops. Okay, I mistakenly copy that. Okay, now I'm going to paste this one. Okay, now the next one, just now we have Sarawak. So we have Sarawak, and the third one we have Sabah. Okay, third one we have Sabah. And let's say that I'm going to choose the first one, West Malaysia, to be the default value. So here the default value would be selected equals to true. Okay, let us have a look. Okay, now it looks very odd because it's like center of the vertically center, but we will actually rectify this. Okay, so we have the default value West Malaysia, and this is for the weight. The default value is 0.5 kilograms. Okay, now similar to the weight, we also do not want to click any button here. So meaning that every time anyone makes some changes to the weight or zone, it will automatically trigger the calculation, and the values that in terms of the charge, okay, will be automatically calculated. Okay, so what do we do? Okay, okay, so for that, we hover over this. You see this small button, select, and we have enable auto postback. Okay, so that's it. So if you go to the source, you can see that there is this addition of auto postback equals to true. Okay, what about the size? Should we readjust? Okay, let's say that the height, let's say I'm going to make this a little bit smaller, but nothing much. Okay, okay, now you can see that now the alignment, the vertical alignment is centered. You see this is in the middle. So actually this should be what we want, is that this weight and zone should be at the top, and this text zone and even the list box should be at the top. Okay, so what we are going to do is that we are going to go look into the CSS. So unpin this. Okay, now this is the CSS that we have. Okay, we have this width. Okay, let us put in something here. Okay, so this is type 2, so we need to add some class to this particular okay, let me try first whether this is possible. Okay, now we have a vertical align. Okay, we have top. Okay, does this solve our problem? Oh, okay, now this one is okay, but this zone, this is still problematic. So where is this zone? Okay, this zone. So basically what we do is that we are going to use the CSS for this auto style one. So basically what you need to do, just copy this class equals to auto style one. Just copy this part, copy, and go here. See this in the TD here of the zone. I'm going to paste this. So okay, now things now this looks better now. We have weight, this is the button, and we have weight and zone. Okay, now between this text box and this calculate button, I think we need to have one space, not much, just one. So let us have a look at this one. Okay, so for space, NBSP. Okay, so does this look better? Okay, now we have a little bit of space here. Okay, so basically, so let us, although we have not finished on the things that we do, but we can actually save, and we can actually drag and drop the control, so that at least we can test on the list box, although the list box still does not do anything because we haven't written the code yet. So let us try this. Okay, so what I'm going to do is that I'm going for our PosLaju form here. So you have this parcel information. So basically what we want to have the control is between this parcel information and this previous and next button. So let us go to the source. So that will be in view 3. Okay, so we have this parcel information. Let's say I create some line spacing here so that we know where do you want to drag. Okay, now you can see that this parcel rates, I'm going to drag and drop this here. Okay, now this is the parcel rates. Okay, okay, you can see this. Okay, now let us check, make sure that everything is in order. Okay, now this parcel rates has been registered to this PosLaju form. Can see here. Okay, and okay, this okay, not a known element, so I don't think that is any problem, because this is a web user control. Of course, .NET will not know this is unknown, because this is unknown because we created that. Okay, let us have a look at the design. Okay, now we have this here. Okay, now let us try and run this. Okay, now if we go next. Okay, now see, by default, okay, the 0.5 kilograms for the weight and the zone Malaysia, this has been selected. Okay, we can enter some value, so these are some of the values that I have entered. Okay, but nothing is done because we haven't written the code for the button click of the calculate. Similarly, although this is post back, we can choose, but still we need to be able to write the code. So for the C# codes, this will be done later. Okay, okay, let us close this first.